My name's Adam Foulds. I'm a writer, a novelist mostly, also a poet, from London in the United Kingdom, now resident in Toronto in Canada, and this is my first time here in Okinawa. I knew the typical information one has about Okinawa, that karate is from here, that it had a very intense and traumatic time of the Second World War, and that there's a significant presence of US military on the island. I can feel something in the air. It reminds me a bit of Sri Lanka, where I've been a bit. There's a softness here, and there's obviously also, this is bringing what I know about the place, a combination of intense beauty and peacefulness, and it feels like quite a kind of spiritual centeredness with a great deal of violence and trauma interfused with that. My expectation is to keep discovering things that I didn't know about. So it's a number of, it's almost more like an algorithm for the overcoming of my ignorance over this time here, rather than having specified visualized thoughts of what it is that I'm going to encounter. Essentially, I knew very little about Okinawa. I had underestimated or not understood how distinct it is from mainland Japan, and how connected it is, in fact, to the whole sort of archipelago of cultures that exist here, you know, looking towards southern China. That was very evident. We saw some karate demonstrated. I have an interest in Chinese martial arts. It was very evident to me how closely related those traditions are when you see the real original Okinawan karate. That this is a very different Japan, that this is very distinct and understands Japan to be an imperial presence here in some sense, or certainly some people do. So, you know, one's expectations of Japan come through popular culture and kind of Japonism in European culture generally, and that's a particular set of aesthetic and cultural and historical materials which you then assume are kind of evenly spread across all the territories of Japan, and it turns out that's very much not the case, and I think particularly not the case here on Okinawa. I feel like I've had a strong introduction to what Okinawa is like. Yeah, and it's been a quite unexpected and deeply engaging unfolding of being here. So I would just repeat that it certainly made a very deep impression, and I know that I will be taking this experience away with me, and it will live in my imagination and, you know, close to the surface of my imagination for a very long time. I have something else that I want to write that is set in a conflict elsewhere in Asia, not too far away, and actually just being here with the textures and the quality of the natural world here is very useful. I suddenly saw what Terence Malick had caught in The Thin Red Line, you know, this natural world that is very lush and peaceful, and it feels almost asleep. It's like in its own dream, and then passing through that and overlaid on it is this very kind of kinetic, violent human conflict, and those two things together feel very present here, and that's very like informing of what the kind of life world of that experience of conflict in these places is like.